And we are back. We're going to be doing another Spotify spotlight here with one of my favorite bands, Breaking Benjamin. They are an American rock band from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. They formed in 1999 by lead singer and guitarist Benjamin Burnley and drummer Jeremy Hummel. The band has commonly been voted for its or noted for its formulaic hard rock tendencies with angst heavy lyrics, swelling choruses, and crunching guitars. If we were to put them in some genres, it would be hard rock, post grunge, and alternative metal. And I think hard rock is just a perfect description of Breaking Benjamin as a whole. So without further ado, let's dive in and see how many hearts we can give out, see how many songs we can get on our playlist. Let's do this thing. We've got so many albums and singles to get through. They've been going for quite a long time here. Their first album is going to be in 2002 called Saturate, and it's going to be really tough to pick my favorite. And I do try to narrow this down to 3 songs per album, but I was really struggling with this band. Some bands are really easy. You're like, yeah, that one's good, this one's okay, and next. But man, with Breaking Benjamin, you could just sit here for hours going, oh, I really like this one. Maybe it's this one. But some highlights here. They're just, these are all really close, honestly. Phase really grows on you. Skin really grows on you. Wish I May is really strong. And you're almost always going to get a strong chorus. The build up and then the chorus, they always take it. They're really leaning into that hard rock genre, as previously stated. But if I was just to narrow it down to 3, my 3 favorites from their first album, I think I would go with Next to Nothing, No Games, and Forever. So I really like Forever because it's more like groovy and different. The sound isn't its typical like deep guitar hard rock genre, but it's really catchy, and you can still tell it's Breaking Benjamin, but it's not as similar to their other songs. To where Next to Nothing and No Games, once they come on, you know exactly which song that is. So I would give it to those 3, but just so good. Like everyone is worth hearting, everyone's worth listening to. It's just some will stick with you longer than others, I would say. Then we go to the So Cold EP, and all of these songs are going to overlap elsewhere in their discography, but for this EP specifically, we got to give it to Blow Me Away, the soundtrack version. All the way back when I played MW2, this was the only song we had on like the downloaded music section on our Xbox at the time. So I would just play this nonstop. While going for like a nuke on derail or something, and it's just very nostalgic. I really dig it. I think this is part of the Halo soundtrack as well, which is just amazing. So it's like a little time capsule there, but the other ones are fine. I think we'll get more into those when we hit the bigger albums as a whole. So next album is going to be 2004's We Are Not Alone, and my goodness, I do believe this is going to be another clean sweep, and it's crazy. It's just Breaking Benjamin is so much quality. I was gonna say quality over quantity, as Spotify is failing me right here, right now. Something went wrong. That's pretty common. I've never seen that before, but we secure that. It's another clean sweep here. And man, this one was even tougher to come up with a final 3, as Follow, Firefly, Sooner or Later are all just so good. But on top of the other ones that have hearts, but those 3, like, I guess you could call them honorable mentions. But then I would give it to Rain. And as you can see, there's 2 here. I think the alternate single one, it is 3 seconds shorter in length, but very similar. I think the lyrics are the exact same. I think this one's just a tad bit more acoustic, and this one's just got a little bit harder guitar in it, but they are both phenomenal. So I will give Rain a spot in the top 3, and then for the other 2, I'm gonna have to give it to Break My Fall and Forget It. The middle of the chorus in Break My Fall is just so good. It really is. I can't really beat it. And then Forget It is up there with kind of like Forever from the other album. It just keeps going. So this, man, we are 2 for 2 clean sweeps albums. Let's see how long Breaking Benjamin can keep this up. So we got 2002, 2004, then we got another EP that we just talked about, or a single, I should say. Then we go to the third full album, so every 2 years. And then we got 2006, Phobia, and this one's got their iconic classic Diary of Jane, The Diary of Jane, as Spotify fails us once again. The beauty of recording this live. But this is almost going to be a full sweep, as I've mentioned previously. The intros and outros, I don't usually heart those as they're very short and they don't have any lyrics typically. Now, if it's something sensational, I guess I would heart it. But I mean, I would probably skip it anyway when it came on, so I just don't. I just leave the heart there. So as far as the intro, outro, just two nice little instrumentals. But that's about it. And then as far as topless, it's fine. I would just much rather listen to any other song on the album. It's just there's nothing particularly special about it that stands out, but the rest of the album is so stacked. Breath, You, Evil Angel, Until the End, Here We Are, Had Enough. Like, those are so strong. But for my top three, I'm going to go with Unknown Soldier. I'm going to lock in Dance with the Devil, and I'm going to finish it with the iconic The Diary of Jane. So this, man, it's just each album's getting harder and harder to pick the top three. So hopefully they'll start, give us some breathing room with the next album. But that's 2002, 2004, 2006. That Breaking Benjamin is just popping off right now as far as the quality of their songs. So it's just amazing to see, really. There's the other single of Diary of Jane, and that leads us to the digital box set. This was in 2009, where they compiled all three of the albums that we just talked about, so we don't need to double down on any of those. However, that does pave the way for 2009's Dear Agony, which is just another ridiculous album. It really is. It's just amazing to see a band stay so consistent and just so good over, 7 years right now. We're talking 2002 to 2009, and the quality has not diminished at all. It's so easy for a band to, have one album come out really strong and then just completely either mix it up or change completely who they are or what made them so good in the first place. But Breaking Benjamin's like, nah, bro, we got you. And as far as the top three, with Dear Agony, this is another one where I could give it to Fade Away. I could give it to Crawl, Hopeless, What Lies Beneath. I could even give it to Without You, Into the Nothing. This is just, you are just picking your poison in the best way. But after strenuously picking which ones I wanted, I did edge it out to Give Me a Sign, the self-titled song Dear Agony, and Anthem of the Angels. Anthem of the Angels is a little bit slower in nature, a little bit more reserved, or just, I don't know how to describe it. It's not as hard as the others. It's more orchestral in nature, but man, it's really good. And then I Will Not Bow is so hype. Like, I remember playing ping pong with my best friend, and we'd have this thing max volume, and you'd be hitting the ball back and forth, and once he's about to take it, you just rise up and spike it on the other side. It's just amazing. So a little nugget there, but that does it for Dear Agony, another star-studded album. Then we have the soundtrack version that we've already hit on. They just upload it as a single there. And then they get Valera in on this one, and it adds some nice female vocals, but I still prefer the original, I would say. Then we get Shallow Bay, the best of Breaking Benjamin, and this, again, is just taking everything we just talked about and compiling it together. However, the next compilation we see right here, the best of Breaking Benjamin, the deluxe edition in 2011, if you just look at it, it looks like it's the same exact things, but going back through and listening to them individually, you come to find out that this bottom half right here, starting at Who Wants to Live Forever, if we can, or Ordinary Man, I should say, right here. So Ordinary Man is a new song that they added to this deluxe. Who Wants to Live Forever, as well as Better Days and Lie to Me, are all newly added, including Enjoy the Silence as well. So if you just glance over these, you're going to think it's the exact same thing, but it's actually not. So you get some really good new songs added to those. Lie to Me has grown on me a lot over the past few months. And then the classics here that you already see, Water is the same exact song as the first album, and we've already got that hearted. So then we go to I Will Not Bow, which is now an acoustic. It should say acoustic here. That would really clear up a lot, but it does not. But that is an acoustic of the one we just talked about. Polyamorous is going to be acoustic as well. And then Ladybug, you may have seen this on the early EP, but they've kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and now it sounds a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and heart that. And then Until the End, this is going to be an acoustic of that as well as Breath. So just divvying out these hearts like they're nothing. And if we were going to narrow it down to 3 songs from this deluxe album, In the Shallow Bay, I think we're going to lean in on the newer songs that they did add instead of the acoustic versions, as I really do enjoy the acoustic switch up, but I think the original songs of all the ones we just hearted here are actually a tiny bit better, but they're both still worth listening to. So the top 3, I would go Lie to Me, Better Days, and Who Wants to Live Forever. Really strong lineup there. And that leads us to their 2015 album. So we had Dear Agony in 2009, and then we jump 6 years into the future, and it's going to be Dark Before Dawn. So you would think if there's a point for the quality to kind of drop off, it would be right here. And with Dark, you get the instrumental intro, and then with Dawn, you get the instrumental outro. So we're going to leave those as we tend to do. But as far as the rest of the songs, we are just going to slide right in here while no one's looking and just go ahead and lock down all of these. Bury Me Alive is fine. It is fine. If you like that and you want to slap a heart on that, I would not blame you. But I think compared to the rest, it just doesn't, it's kind of like Topless from the other album. It's just not quite as good. So these are really strong. I think some honorable mentions would be Defeated and Failure and Ashes of Eden. I really wanted to put in the top 3. It's almost 5 minutes long, but it's kind of like Anthem of the Angels from earlier. Just so good, so strong. And that kind of that slower, more orchestral feel to it. But I would actually give it to Angels Fall, Hollow, and Never Again. He just keeps taking it over and over in the chorus, and it just, you can't stop him. You want to try, but you can't. So just another lights out album. And now we are talking 2002 to 2015, 13 years of excellence. And no matter how bad it gets from this point, you can't take that away from a band like Breaking Benjamin. You absolutely cannot. So that does lead us to Ember. We took another 3-year hiatus, and now we've got their, I believe this is their 5th album, if I counted correctly. And so you got Lyra is going to be a tiny little intro here, and then you got Vega, it's going to be an outro there. So we're going to leave those, and I'm actually going to skip the first 3. I think a lot of people do like Red Cold River. It's just not my thing. It's very repetitive, and it just doesn't do it for me. But it's fine. Again, if you did heart these and you like these, I would not blame you. They are Breaking Benjamin. It is good, but compared, Psycho has really been growing on me. The Dark of You is insanely good. Let's see, what else do we have here? We got Down. We got Torn in Two. Then we got, I think Blood and Save Yourself are fine in their own regard, kind of like what I was saying about these first 3 here. It's not bad. It just doesn't hit the same as their other ones. And I'm going to lock in Close Your Eyes there as well. So you can see not quite as strong across the board as the previous, but they still have quite a bit. So this is much more manageable than what you would, just not a complete drop off from the previous albums. They still have a lot, and you could potentially say that they tried something new or just switched it up a little bit, and that might be why I wasn't such a big fan. But that's also not a bad thing, since you don't want the same exact thing over and over and over. You just want to keep the same theme without reiterating the same exact song, if that makes sense. But as far as the lyrics go, the music and the quality, it's all there. It is all there. The vocals, everything you'd want it to be. So that leads us to the top 3 for this Ember album. And I'm going to give it to Close Your Eyes, Psycho, and The Dark of You. So just, again, it's not a clean sweep, but still a really good time with Breaking Benjamin. And that leads us to their final and most recent full album in 2020, the Aurora version. So this is kind of a rehashing of the past songs. As you can see, these are the only new song here is going to be Far Away, and my goodness, is it good. It is phenomenal. It's one of my favorites, actually. It has grown on me so much this past year. And it's got Scooter Ward from the band Cold, C-O-L-D, and I have never heard any of their songs, but I really like Scooter's contribution to this song, so I really dig that. Then we have, as you can see, there's a lot of features, so the Aurora version basically is like kind of like an acoustic-y cover of their original hard rock songs, and then they get somebody from another band in there to kind of make it even newer and fresher. But my main argument is that the original versions are almost always better than any of these. Now, Far Away is not even it's a new song entirely, but like say for instance, Angels Fall, I think the Aurora version is good, but I would rather listen to the original Angels Fall. However, with Dance with the Devil, you get Adam Gontier, who is the main singer for 3 Days Grace, and this with Benjamin from Breaking Benjamin is such a good mixture of two deep male vocalists that it is awesome to listen to. So I think this is up there with the original Dance with the Devil. So I'm going to go ahead and heart that. And then lastly, I think Dear Agony with Lacey Sturm from Flyleaf is absolutely fantastic as well. So they might not be better than the original versions, but man, do they hit and do they rival them. So really good stuff there. It's just going to be a clean 3, and that makes my job easy here as we can go 1, 2, 3 for my favorite on the Aurora album. And then we only have 2 singles left, and we have the iconic Iris cover here, and it's Goo Goo Dolls all day. The original artist of Iris is always going to win. It's one of the most covered songs ever. I think Sleeping with Sirens did a really good job of covering it, but this one's fine. It's very modern. It is what it is. But I think it's very passable. And then Waiting on the Sky to Change just dropped this year or last year, and it's with Starset, who's got a couple really good ones. But it's fine. It's fine. If you like this, I wouldn't hold it against you, but it's not exactly my thing. So that will do it. This will conclude our 4th Spotify Spotlight. I had a ton of fun with this. Breaking Benjamin is definitely one of my favorite bands, and it has so much to offer. And again, just the vocal prowess, the lyrics, and the music across the board, you get that really good rock feel. It's hard rock, but it's not quite screamo. It's their own distinct style and sound, and I just really enjoy basically 95 to 100% of their songs. So thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, and I will catch you on the flip. Peace.